what has been the impact of this COVID-19 outbreak on the airports sector in your view?
Well, a dramatic impact, I would say. I mean, as you can recall, India has been in a tremendous growth phase over the last 10 years, and a lot of infrastructure projects have been initiated to increase capacity, and then within 1 or 2 months, basically the whole demand has collapsed or was sort of the activities were stopped. So it has taken a lot of airport operators on the wrong foot. Even though now we see a recovery at least on the domestic side, it has created a lot of uncertainty for travelers, especially due to the uncoordinated activities of a lot of countries or even states with regards to anti-pandemic measures. So as a traveler, you don't know what expects you. It changes frequently. So I think there is an overall large lack of confidence there. And so the recovery for the airports, for the whole aviation sector is reasonably slow and will take some time.
So, based on the issues that have been faced due to this outbreak, what has been your organization's response to the pandemic?
Well, as you might be aware, airports have almost 80% fixed costs. So obviously, the immediate action of an airport operator such as Zurich Airport is to reduce costs where possible. But again, I would like to stress the fact that a lot of costs are still there, even though you might not have a lot of flights and a lot of passengers. So 80% is fixed. So as long as the airports as a public infrastructure are obliged to operate, these costs are there. So I think that's one side, to reduce costs wherever possible, and then obviously for a lot of companies, refinancing, ensuring that liquidity is available to continue operating is the main focus in the existing environment, apart from operational measures to ensure safety of passengers when they use the airport. So hygiene measures, implementation of SOPs to ensure social distancing. So these are the standard measures that are applied by the airport operator.
All right. So, Mr. Bircher, according to you, what is going to be the future outlook for the sector based on the current state of affairs?
Predictions are still difficult due, as I mentioned before, due to the reasonably uncoordinated approach between different countries, regions. So what we see is we expect a good recovery of domestic travels once the key figures of infections slow down. When we have crossed these peaks. So I think what we see today in Europe, traffic has recovered. Even in India, domestic traffic is there. But when it comes to international traffic, the predictions are reasonably difficult. Once we have either coordinated approaches of quarantine, of requirements, visa requirements, entry, immigration requirements, I think then that will create some more confidence. But a recovery within the next 2 years seems to be difficult, or very slow recovery on international routes.
Okay. So in light of the difficulties that you've mentioned, what are going to be the key priorities area in the post, both in terms of handling traffic at your existing airports as well as implementation of the JVAR airport?
When you talk about post-COVID world, so I would like again to remind you that we had still a lot of excess demand in India, and I'm absolutely convinced that once the pandemic situation is under control, India will return to a steep and continued growth of air traffic. It's one of the driving engines of the economy. It's the size of the country. It's a necessity as well. So we feel that the situation will improve and will come back to pre-COVID levels. But it will take some time, and I guess also sanitation, hygiene measures will impact certain processes, procedures, hopefully increase the implementation speed of touchless applications, of security protocols. I think that's what we have been seeing in the last couple of months, and this we expect will continue.
My last question, Mr. Bircher, in light of the current outbreak and the operational issues that we are expected to face in the future, according to you, which are two or three most crucial technologies that are going to come to the forefront in terms of helping and facilitating better management at airports?
If I look at the existing challenges, I would again repeat. I think touchless technologies will be important to avoid contact with surfaces. Second one, also to speed up processes at certain touch points that have traditionally been a bottleneck for airports. So that's what I foresee for the future, for these emerging markets where we will still have a continued and sustainable growth for the next couple of years.